Jimmy Kimmel. Yesterday, when I saw the news about Jimmy Kimmel, I have to be honest. I was incredibly shocked. I'm just going to walk you through my own feelings, and then I'm going to walk you through what I saw. My own feelings. I was incredibly like, wait, what? Number one, I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch late night TV because I'm sleeping. Truthfully, I go to sleep between 9:30 and 10:30. Okay. I don't watch late night TV. Never really did. Never really did. Um, so I'm not shocked. I wasn't like, oh my God, my favorite TV show. Like none of that. I saw like a little something on like a news alert, but I didn't think it was real. But then when I saw the clip that or the article that he was yanked offline, I was like, whoa. I mean, it's a big deal. He must have said something horrible. But I found it also kind of fascinating that on Sunday, or sorry, he said this on Monday, and yesterday is Wednesday, and I hadn't even heard about it, meaning it wasn't even a big enough news story that people were talking about it in the online world. Usually when when like a late night talk show host or a comedian or someone says something that's that egregious and that horrible, it's immediately blasted out. An hour later, people can't believe it. Like if SNL goes really wild with a joke and says something like really distasteful, or if a comedian says something really bad, or in a talk show, you usually wake up the next morning and it's blasted everywhere. So I do understand. I didn't understand what he could have said that was so bad since none of us really saw it, right? None of us saw the news. So I was like taken aback by it. Okay. I was taken aback by it. So of course, what do? I immediately go online to like get people's opinions. And that's what my favorite thing to do is. First thing is I posted it on my story and I wanted to get your opinions because I think I have a lot of people that follow me from all sides of the coin. I definitely noticed that in the last week or so since Charlie Kirk died. I think I lost a lot of people, but I think a lot of people that stuck around, I noticed. Well, the one thing that I noticed is a lot of them just have good hearts. The people that stuck around have good hearts because you guys, even if you didn't agree with anything Charlie Kirk said, a lot of you said, I did despised his thoughts, but I can't believe he was killed. Like I would never, ever celebrate his murder. And those are the people that stuck around. So I asked you guys on Instagram stories, I said, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you not even know what he said? As of right now, which is a little over 12 hours after the story was put up, this is the answer. These are the numbers. It's very tight, very tight. 41%, so this is 1,142 votes that voted, agree with the decision. 37%, so just a little bit less, 1,024 votes, so 100 people less, disagree. So we're off by 100 people. 1,142 to 1,024 disagree. And then 22%, 600 people have no idea what he even said as of the time that they voted. So the vote is very, very tight, meaning we are completely split, as I would imagine, as a country right now over how you guys feel about this. And that's kind of how my brain is. I'm going to be honest, because I'm going back and forth. I'm like, I don't really know how to feel about this. Everything I see is getting my brain to think about it in a different way. So I'm going to present to you guys what I'm seeing online and what is getting my brain to think about different things. Because what I noticed was I am getting DMs from you guys saying, this is awful. This is a free speech infringement. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a dictator, all the way to this is a job and he was hired by a corporation and he was let go by a corporation. He had to, it was a job and he went like rogue on his job and he was fired. So I think that a lot of people, their algorithms don't show them a lot of things other than what they see, like their own opinions. So I think it's kind of interesting to see a variety of things. How do you guys feel about that? Um, the first thing that I want you guys to see is there's 3 arguments. Okay. The 3 arguments that they have, the first one is a free speech argument. Okay. The people that are going here, that are going on this as a free speech argument, which makes sense by a lot of reasons, okay, are saying that one compelling argument against pulling Jimmy Kimmel off the air is, and basically what he said, in case you don't know what he said, was he basically said, he referred to the shooting of Charlie Kirk as he called basically the MAGA gang. He said something along the lines, and I don't want to pull up the entire thing, but he said something like the MAGA gang is doing everything they can to refer to this shooter as anything but their own. Okay. That was one part of the monologue. And then he made jokes showing Trump talking about his ballroom and the construction of the ballroom instead of grieving Charlie. So the free speech argument is that it represents a dangerous precedent for government orchestrated censorship, undermining the First Amendment's core protections for political speech, satire, and comedy. Kimmel's remarks, while provocative and factually disputed by some, as the accused shooter was not clearly affiliated with MAGA, fall squarely under protected expression as opinion based commentary on a public tragedy and political exploitation, hallmarks of late night television that have long tested boundaries without prior federal intervention. The FCC chair's public threats of fines and license revocations against ABC affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair, who actually ended up pulling him. A lot of people think Trump pulled Jimmy Kimmel. Trump didn't. Nexstar and Sinclair, which are ABC affiliates, did. But then I'll explain to you why people think it's still Trump, even though it wasn't Trump. It was people that affiliates of ABC. But there's more to that, which prompted their preemptions and ABC's capitulation, illustrate how regulatory pressure can coerce private broadcasters into self-censorship, chilling dissent against those in power, rather than allowing the marketplace of ideas to sort fact from hyperbole. This isn't mere corporate caution. It's an echo of authoritarian tactics, where even bad jokes or unpopular opinions lead to platform denial, eroding free speech for all voices, not just Kimmel's. Okay. That's the free speech argument. I'm presenting all the different arguments. So I'm curious for you guys in the comments, who here thinks this was a free speech argument? The second argument is accountability, meaning he said it, he has a job, and he should be fired for going against, the job's rules. One strong argument for ABC's indefinite suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live in response to Kimmel's monologue being a legitimate accountability decision is that it upholds journalistic and broadcast standards by holding a prominent figure responsible for spreading unsubstantiated claims that could incite further division or harm without relying on government censorship. Kimmel's comments, delivered to millions on a network-owned platform, were factually challenged. The shooter had no verified MAGA ties per police reports, and amplified a narrative that prematurely blamed political rhetoric for a tragedy, potentially fueling real-world tensions in an already polarized climate. As a licensed broadcaster under FCC oversight, ABC has a fiduciary duty to its affiliates, advertisers, and audience to mitigate backlash from such inflammatory content, evidenced by the swift preemptions by major station groups like Nexstar and Sinclair, which cited viewer complaints and regulatory risks. This isn't suppression of speech, but corporate self-regulation. Kimmel, as a paid employee, isn't a private citizen protected from from employer consequences for on-air misconduct, much like how networks have suspended hosts, i.e., Roseanne Barr or Bill Maher, in past controversies. For preserves trust in media institutions, ensuring satire punches up without veering into reckless misinformation that could endanger lives or erode public discourse. That's that argument. Okay? And then the final argument is the business argument, which is what were his numbers? And this is a very valid argument as well. And I'll explain where I come into it at the end. A robust argument for his suspension is that it prioritizes revenue protection and stakeholder relations in a hyper-competitive media landscape. His monologue sparked immediate advertiser pullouts and preemptions by powerhouse affiliates, which air the show in key markets and generate a significant chunk of ABC's syndication fees. With late night viewership already declining and streaming wars, ABC can't afford the reputational hit or FCC scrutiny that could jeopardize broadcast licenses worth billions. Suspending the show is a calculated move to de-escalate, renegotiate with partners, and retain ad dollars, much like Disney's swift axing of Roseanne in 2018 after her tweet controversy, which preserved the network's family-friendly brand despite the hit to ratings. This isn't about ideology or ethics, it's capitalism. Networks treat talent as assets. And when one risks the bottom line, the plug gets pulled to safeguard shareholder value over individual expression. Okay. And just to add to that, Jimmy Kimmel's numbers were in the toilet. You can't lie about that. You thought Colbert's numbers were bad? Jimmy Kimmel in September 2025, this month, had an 11% decline from August. Okay? In second quarter of this year, he was second place behind Colbert. And in this last month, he was third behind Colbert. Fallon was second. He's not doing well. His numbers suck. You have to be honest, okay? So I'm giving you guys the three arguments. What do I think? I think it was a perfect storm. I think this was a perfect storm for Bob Iger and Disney. And I think they couldn't be happier about it. This is how I feel. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, no, 100% this is Trump. And maybe Trump putting the pressure on FCC behind the scenes with the money merger had something to do with it. Absolutely. So the FCC was putting pressure on Disney and ABC, and Disney and ABC said, we kind of want to get rid of him anyway. He's not making us good money. It's perfect timing. So maybe in some weird roundabout way, it does go back to Trump. I really do believe that there is a world. But I'm guaranteeing you guys that if ABC wanted to fight this, if Jimmy Kimmel was making ABC a shit ton of money right now, they would fight this tooth and nail. And they would win. I'll give you an example. Here's a great reel where ABC could have fought this and they could have won. I'll tell you right now. This is not I didn't come up with this. This was on CNN. ABC could have fought this tooth and nail if they wanted to, and they would have won. They chose not to because they knew this was their out with Jimmy Kimmel. Watch this. This is on CNN with Wolf Blitzer.
You make of that apparent threat from Carr telling the broadcasters, and I'm quoting him now, we can do this the easy way or the hard way in terms of punishing Kimmel. How does the First Amendment right to free speech play here?
So right there, that quote from the Commissioner Carr is where the First Amendment line gets crossed, because the way the courts have defined that line is coercion. If the government is using its coercive powers, its threatening powers to say, do this or else we will take some government action against you, that's where the First Amendment line is crossed. Now, ABC has apparently chosen they're not going to challenge that. They've chosen instead to give in and to suspend Jimmy Kimmel. But if ABC had wanted to, if they had the fortitude to do it or the financial means to do it, they have the means, but the desire to do it, they could have waited, seen if the FCC actually took action, and then challenged them in court. And I think if ABC would have done that, they would have won on a First Amendment basis.
If ABC really wanted to fight for Jimmy, why wouldn't they? Why did ABC decide to pull the plug? Because ultimately, ABC decided to pull the plug on Jimmy Kimmel. This is someone that they've had in their corner for years. Something happened between ABC and Disney for them to say, it's not worth it. What? I think 100%. It was a financial decision at the perfect time because they don't have to take the blame now. Why? Because everyone's going to blame Trump. It's perfect. It's a perfect time for them. Fascism. It works. Right? The one side is like fascism. And the right side is like, we got rid of Jimmy. And Disney and ABC are like, our hands were tied. What can we do? We can't do anything. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy moment in time. Because I don't think what Jimmy Kimmel did was that outrageous. They could have fought this. What Jimmy Kimmel said was not enough to get fired, in my opinion. Not at all. Not at all. And it's very interesting because I think Jimmy Kimmel is now going to be the victim of free speech. He's going to be like the martyr of free speech. People are going to rise him up. He's going to start a podcast somewhere or YouTube. He's going to be so damn successful. This is a win for Jimmy. Trust me, this is a win for Jimmy. I guarantee you he's going to end up being like the golden boy of Hollywood because no one was watching his show. Clearly, the numbers were horrible. No one was watching his show. But now everyone is going to stand behind Jimmy Kimmel. He's going to win. And maybe ABC even said that to him. Like, we're doing you a favor. There may be a world there. Now, in case you're wondering what the FCC controls, the reason why this doesn't happen over on Fox News, a lot of people are like, well, the guy on Fox News says this and the guy on CNN says, because the FCC doesn't control cable news. The FCC only really controls like network TV. Basic news, whatever, network, CBS, NBC, Fox, not Fox News, not cable TV. So it's really, really interesting. But I read an article that I thought was, incredibly, number one, first of all, I saw an article just this morning that said ABC insiders are ripping the network over a stupid Jimmy Kimmel monologue that led to the suspension. They should have known better. Apparently, ABC insiders are apoplectic over the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and they're blaming the network for not editing the late night host's controversial monologue before it aired Monday. Kimmel's show was pulled for all the reasons. And one ABC source fumed. This is according to the New York Post. ABC is stupid. They should have edited Kimmel. They know Trump is after him. Their standards department should have flagged it. They should have known better. A lot of people are mad. They say it's ABC's fault after what happened with George Stephanopoulos. Oh my God, my boy. They should have known. The person added, saying that Kimmel's monologue had veered into political commentary and away from comedy. The truth is, we watched growing up, and I didn't watch it because I was young, but like you guys, if you're older than me, watched David Letterman, Johnny Carson, and all of those people every single night. And do you have any idea, maybe David Letterman, because he was a little bit on the younger end, but like, do you have any idea how Johnny Carson voted? Does anyone know how Johnny Carson voted in presidential elections? I don't think so. I think that's kind of like, that would be the dream in late night TV. It would be nice to get back to a place where we weren't getting inundated with everyone's political choices and feelings on late night TV. There is no question If anything, you should see how divided our country is. You're going to alienate a lot of your audience. So it's a perfect storm. His numbers were in the toilet. He's saying something at a very, very raw time. ABC and Disney probably wanted him gone for good. Is Bob Iger a Republican? Disney's Bob Iger? Maybe he offended Bob. What about Bob? Jay Leno. Yeah. Did we know how Jay Leno voted? No idea. No idea. Everything is so political online now at night. You know, Bohemian Diva, who was on my show, I did a TikTok about this yesterday, and she said, I don't think America I think America has underestimated how upset the Christian community is after the Charlie Kirk death, and that they've really upset. She said a red tsunami is coming. She's been on my show before. She covers a lot of the Blake Lively stuff. If you guys remember who Bohemian Diva is, she's been on my show. It's a very interesting world where, like, this is kind of like awoken a giant in that side. I've never seen anything like it. But we're seeing like a really big reaction on so many things. Everything's reacting. So I don't know. Do I think Jimmy Kimmel deserved to be pulled for this one comment? No. That's why I don't think it's about the comment. I think it's a business decision. I really do. I did see a really interesting article, and you know, Moshe. Follow Moshe. He's a CBS. He's a former CBS political journalist. He reports the news. He's online. He says just the facts. He's former executive producer at CBS News, Fox News, and Bloomberg. I believe that he reports very partisan. Like, is it nonpartisan? Yeah, nonpartisan. I try to only follow people that don't report from like a very pro one way or the other. Tell me if you don't believe that he is this way, if you follow him. I like him a lot. It's Moshe on Instagram. He has about 550,000 followers. He just like shows little clips of things all the time, and he covers all kinds of topics. I haven't seen this yet, but he talked about what the FCC can and can't control. He talks, and I don't think he's a big Trump fan at all. So in case you guys are wondering if he's like conservative, I don't think he is. I think he's actually more moderate left. But let's see this. He said, history repeats itself. Kimmel got his big break after the Bill Maher controversy. Let's check this out.
So one thing many of you may not know is that the Jimmy Kimmel time slot only became available to him when the predecessor in the time slot was also canceled for a controversial remark. We have to go back to 2001 with Bill Maher before he had the HBO Real-Time show. He had a show on ABC called Politically Incorrect. He did a show 6 days after 9/11 and said the following.
We have been the cowards, lobbing cruise missiles from 2,000 miles away.
Absolutely.
That's cowardly.
That is a
Staying in the airplane
yes.
when it hits the building.
That is
Say
a
what you want
terribly,
about it, not cowardly.
No, Maher said he regretted that remark the way that he framed it, but the advertiser backlash was significant. They eventually canceled Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher and would go on to replace him with, who else? Jimmy Kimmel more than 20 years ago. By the way, that's not the only issue that ABC has had in recent years. Just about 7 years ago, they fired Roseanne Barr with her return of her series, The Conners, after she posted a very controversial tweet about an Obama advisor, Valerie Jarrett, saying she's a combination of the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes. So ABC has been dealing with issues in primetime or late night every few years or so over the last couple decades. So one thing many of you...
Yeah, I mean, it's bad timing because of Colbert. It's really bad timing because Colbert just got fired. And I think people are really, really upset because they're feeling like we're silencing people, but no one is being silenced. This is the truth. Jimmy Kimmel right now can start an empire of his own. He's not silenced, and he should start an empire. That's the beauty of independent media, right? Everyone can start their own YouTube. and podcast. And one thing I know is that, yes, he's made money on late night TV, but he can make so much money doing what we do here. And he can make a gazillion more dollars doing it on live touring and podcasting. And he can have fun with it. He can do a show with Colbert together.